Well, you heard it here, folks. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are reviewing, as you heard it first, Poppy's Playtime Chapter 1. Because I have to put that in particular. And y'all gonna understand later on in the video. But Poppy's Playtime. So, the founder who made this toy, his name is Elliot Ludwig. Or Ludwig. I really want to say Ludwig Kaiser. You wrestling fans know. But, anyways, he made this toy for the kids, whatever. And, it's just another company for kids. But things went on behind closed doors, which leads us to the beginning of the game, which chapter 1 focuses on his other toy that he made later on down the line called Huggy Wuggy. Now, before I even get started on this, apparently the company was made in the founder made the company in the 50s or something like that. And Huggy Wuggy doesn't come out until I think the 80s or something like that. I was trying to do some lore. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was trying to do some lore for y'all. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, pretty much it tells you about you. You don't know who you are, by the way, but you do know that you are an employee who used to work there at some point, during this tenure of this place being open. And apparently you're back to find the employees that apparently never left. Now, in the beginning here, it talks about trespassing, and it gives you the first little, I can't think of the word right now. The first color pattern puzzle. Jesus, that's the word I'm looking for. It gives you the first puzzle, which gives you the most important thing out of all the games so far I've seen is the grab pack, which lets you, grab stuff from far distances. You're going to eventually be able to swing on stuff, and it conducts electricity. Now, what you notice with this grab pack is that it actually didn't come with the red hand. Now, before you go grab the red hand, you do realize that they make you do a puzzle with turning on the power and stuff like that with your only blue hand because the power is out. And this is when you do meet Huggy Wuggy, but bro's just a statue and not really moving, and he kind of gives you the key so you can go into the power room and fix the power, which was already strange within itself. But after fixing the power, after figuring out the puzzle and everything, you do end up going on to the next room where you need these parts, and they're all color coordinated too, like red, blue, yellow, green, which also funny enough is literally the colors of the tapes in this game, which I don't understand what their color, why the tapes are color coordinated. Maybe that'll make more sense in the later chapters, but I would assume that they would all just be black because the tapes really tell you the story of the game, but maybe they hold a more significance to the story. But, after you get all the color coordinated blocks or whatever, you do find this yellow tape. And in this yellow tape, there's a dude who's screaming about the Huggy Wuggy boxes and all this stuff. And, the guy's pretty upset about it and all this stuff. And you do learn more about the story because it does turn out that while he was screaming about these boxes, that they were actually doing a program for I can't think of the word right now. See, I can't talk today, guys. I don't know what's going on. So the word I was looking for was adoption program. So the Huggy Wuggy boxes were for an adoption program that they had going on. So the dude kind of chilled out and calmed down. And then after that, you put the little color coordinated boxes in the machine, and then you eventually do get your red hand. So after that, you do a small puzzle, and then you go into the make a friend room, which they does say was created in the 60s, something like that, which is somehow synonymous to Huggy Wuggy in some random way. But in this room, they wanted to show kids that they can make their own friends. And the idea behind this room was that they couldn't leave without making a friend. But another thing that went on in this room was, of course, you had to turn the make a friend machine on, do another puzzle with the electricity. But also, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the color was pink. There was a pink tape there where this lady pretty much explained, her name was Stella, and she explained why she started working for the company. And it was very weird because she talked about how much she really loved and enjoyed toys, which That's okay. That's a little weird. So after getting the machine to work and everything, you turn it on, you watch the random parts go through the machine and make you a toy. And to leave the room, you have to assemble the toy, and then after that, you put it on like this little pedestal and it scans the toy. And then you go into like this, the next room that you go into, it's really dark and like the doors on the right and left are locked. So you go in there, it's really dark, like I said. And then here's the part where you actually run into Huggy Wuggy. So now that you found Huggy Wuggy, you on the chase. You running through the vents and Huggy Wuggy bro's just straight up trying to kill you with the killer face and stuff like that. So after you do the chase through the vents, you can eventually escape and get away from him by sending a box on a platform, which pretty much breaks the platform. And Huggy Wuggy, for YouTube purposes, he goes away. I'll just say he goes away. But within the room that you're in, you do find the black tape, which is the last tape of this game necessarily. And it really talks about like the scientific experiments that was actually going on behind closed doors, behind Playtime Co., which I think it's like experiment 1006 or something like that. I might be wrong on them numbers, but like, yeah, it pretty much talks about, there was stuff going on behind closed doors that, that they didn't want getting out, but, people were keeping tapes on it and stuff like that. But, yeah, after that, once you saw from the beginning, the poppy seed, that you saw from the beginning video, that's, you run into that again. And once you go into that door, everything kind of changes because it's more like it's a house now and stuff like that. And you start to understand that Poppy is actually in there and she's like encased up and all this other stuff. So eventually you go to let her out and pretty much the game really just ends. And I was like, okay. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I was freaking disappointed. I was disappointed for a lot of reasons. Why? Because it took me probably about an hour to beat this game. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. People who has more of a brain and can solve puzzles quicker than I can could probably beat this game in like 20 minutes, which really like irritated me. So for my final verdict, I'm giving this game a 6 out of 10. It's just okay. Like, I don't understand why they have the chapters divided. It makes no sense. And I know people are like probably gonna be like, oh, well, every game's only like $5 and it might go up in price. Cause I know like the fourth one's like $20 right now. But if they keep making these games go like this, then guess what's gonna happen? They're either A, gonna keep increasing the price, or B, they're just gonna give you like a bundle with all of them together. And since there's so many of them, it's gonna be like over $100 for all these games, which I just don't understand the point of that. But if you enjoy this, you enjoy this. I don't have an issue with it. I just wish they would have done a better job. So until next time, y'all, peace out.